Welcome to audio. There's a lot here, but I'm just going to talk about how to set up two lav mics on this system. Power on the audio board with the button around the back right of the board. Make sure that all the faders are at the bottom. Then power on the control room and studio amps. Find your lav mic kits and get your Tylent mic'd, and make sure their transmitter is on, unmuted, and has enough battery to do what you need to do. Next, plug the transmitters of your lavs into the snake in the studio. It's helpful for yourself and the editor to arrange the receivers left to right. If Tylent A is on the left, put them on channel 1, and put Tylent B on channel 2, and so forth. Power on the receivers. At the audio board, you should expect to see some levels, if your Tylent is talking. If you don't, use the trim knob up here until you do. If that didn't work, make sure that this switch at the top is set to mic. For mics with their own power source, like our battery-powered lav receiver, this is the appropriate setting. If you use a mic that needs its own power source, called phantom power, switch the channel to 48 volts. Next, put your stereo or master fader to 0, and slowly bring up your other channels to 0 as well. Note that 0 is at the top of the master fader, but only most of the way up on each of the channels. Try and start with everything at 0. We call this unity. If you can do that and adjust amplitude with the trim knob, that's ideal. A tip for keeping good levels is that the quietest things your Tylent says shouldn't be below minus 20 dB, and the loudest things shouldn't exceed minus 8 dB. If it spikes up to 6 or even 4, don't freak out. The only real problems are if you can hear distortion in the audio or if the meter's peaking light goes on. It's good to know the content of what your Tylent is doing. Are they going to be yelling? How often? And how loud? You should call for an audio check and ask them to say the actual lines that they'll use. Check, check, audio check is a terrible audio check. Also ask them to say the loudest thing that they're going to say, if that's applicable.